Okay, and we're back. So it looks like there was some connection in
Yeah,
the
there's
server, but we've got that resolved now.
Hmm.
brief connection
Um,
issue. I guess it was a cockatrice thing. So we're back.
Yeah.
yeah, and we've got some clarifications from the players on
Yep.
the Aether Spell Bomb. So the Aether Spell Bomb was targeting the Vanifar,
Yep.
which went back to hand and then was recast.
Yep.
But yeah, and
So that solves that mystery.
that solves that mystery. But here's a little one for you. So right now the Gitrog player is going for the sculpt, the cleanup sculpt that we were talking about briefly with the Golgari Grave Troll and dredgers and stuff.
Yep.
And so we just got some clarification from the tournament organizers. So we just got some clarification from the tournament on how they would rule for this cleanup step.
Yeah.
So, or for the cleanup step sculpt with Gitrog specifically. So how it's going to work is that on the third shuffle after during the cleanup step sculpt, the Gitrog player can ask to make an actual game action,
Yeah.
or just completely has to pass the turn.
So the shuffle being from one of the Eldrazi Titans hitting the graveyard, right?
Yes,
Okay.
or Gaia's Blessing.
Or Guy's Blessing. Yep.
Right.
Now this can represent many draws, and we do know
Oh, yeah.
that PD Measles has the Oblivion Crown in hand.
Yep.
Now,
Yep.
if you're PD Measles right now, you're probably incentivized to just go for the Oblivion Crown.
Okay, and we've
Oh,
got
there's
some
a Winter
Winds
Rebuke on
the
targeting
game.
Gitrog monster here.
Okay. So this should be the game then, right? Because he responds with Oblivion Crown. You can start discarding lands.
Yeah.
Well, so the Phyrexian Tower is a mana. This doesn't cause a round of priority. So unless perhaps PD Measles has declared that he's casting the Oblivion Crown,
Okay.
and this is in response to the Oblivion
This
Crown.
is the Winds
This is in
Rebuke is in
response to Winds
response to the
Rebuke.
Sylvan,
Yeah.
to the Sylvan Safekeeper.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, and then now PD Measles correctly responds with Oblivion Crown, and I think
That's the game.
that should be the game,
I
right?
think that is very close to it. If
Well,
not
unless as we talked about earlier, misdirection,
yeah.
as we thought it might. So we'll find that out real quick.
Yeah.
or very shortly. But yeah,
because PD Measles has multiple lands in hand, so the chances of him breaking.
And here
off of
comes
his
the
there's-
misdirection.
yeah, there's a misdirection.
Okay, so it does work then.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that if he's casting it, then it must work.
I'll do a quick magic rule search on
Yes, please.
misdirection
Mhm.
and aura spells.
Yes.
Misdirect. So you guys go ahead and vamp.
Oh, I'm good at this. What did he exile to? He exiled negate to misdirection. Okay.
Yeah.
If it does resolve this way, then. it
Okay,
looks
so
like-
it says that according to rules 3.3.4a, sorry, 303.4a, an aura spell requires a target,
yeah.
which was restricted by its enchantability. So then the misdirection would be able to target or change the target of Oblivion Crown.
And as we can see, the misdirection.
Yeah.
Is,
So I guess notably, as long as Azrael changes the target to a creature that isn't controlled by PD Measles,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
we've successfully done something.
And it looks like he's stuck the Oblivion Crown on the Prime Speaker Vanifar.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we've seen the crown, we've seen the monster go back to hand. So.
Yep.
Looks like.
Now, this is far from over for the Gitrog monster. At least this turn is over, but this is far from over. In the Sylvan Safekeeper is going to be quite strong against all forms of interaction against the Gitrog monster, and with all these dredge cards in hand and the ability to potentially sculpt up to something that gets you back to a discard outlet or whatever, or even just safekeeping, sacrificing lands to find a discard outlet. There's so many options here for the Gitrog player.
Yeah, certainly. It's definitely a deck that can pivot.
Yeah, although we'll be slightly restricted on lands who do this back to basics.
Yeah.
We are. I think we did see the. He does. PD Measles does have a black floating, so it might be back to basics.
Wow, that
would be something, considering it unlocks the Inventor's Fair for PD
it unlocks
Measles, for Azrael.
Yeah, unlocking the Adventurous Fair is not what you want to be doing.
Yeah, it might just be wise to wait till his next turn and use like the Mox Diamond for black.
Yeah, he can just play his Twilight Mire and then tap 2, 3, 4, 5 mana for his Gitrog monster.
He's targeting the Skull Clamp.
I like that.
Not too bad, and not too bad considering been a massive source of card advantage for Azrael.
Yeah.
And really, if we without this the skull clamp, his board position looks so much worse.
Yeah.
His
So
mentor's
there's a lot
fair is
weaker.
locked by his own back to basics.
Yep.
He's got a KCI and handful of basically nothing.
He's got a KCI in hand and then a bauble and 2 basic lands.
Yeah, the bauble represents a draw, but that's not gonna do enough. Really, we were talking about the Aether Spellbomber as the glue that held this board together,
Yeah.
but really it was this skull clamp.
It was the clamp.
Yeah. So Vanifar not looking too bad right now, considering that all that interaction just got.
Especially now that, well, I guess there wasn't a way for PD Measles to keep up his Abrupt Decay during his own turn.
Are we gonna see? Well, Are we
So I
gonna
guess
see?
if Azrael, let's see. So if Azrael doesn't find another way to interact,
Yeah, wait a second. Do we see the classic untap explode here?
Could very well be. Now, homeward path. There's many times I wish it could give you back permanence that you actually. Dude, what if you could homeward path back? You could homeward path someone's like someone else's Vanifar if it's enchantment.
no.
It's too
That's too
much.
much. That's too much.
Or when people, or I guess it's more of a casual thing when people steal your other permanents. I know as a Godo player, people have taken your artifacts with Hellkite Tyrant, and you just wish your homeward path worked.
Or Sahili Rai.
Yeah.
Or not Sahili Rai. The greatest thief in the multiverse.
Oh, Dak Fade.
Dak Fade, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so Elsewhere Flask looks like we're digging.
Yeah, I think Azrael has to realize that the burden here is on him.
Yep.
And he has to dig to an answer. Now, the Sensei's Divining Top, a P top 3.
Yep.
And I don't know if we can see if he's done that yet. But
Okay, so he has Merchant School in his hand now. Yeah. So that should be able to find possibly Chain of Vapor, Ponglify if he runs that.
You'd really like to find something that could answer Vanifar real effectively and send him back potentially 2 turns if possible.
Right.
Notably, sacrificing Elsewhere Flask will allow him to untap his Inventor's Fair next turn.
Oh, that's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no. Because the untap would happen so you don't have priority in order to do that, correct?
Well, you do it at someone's... Oh, that's true. The untap happens
end of the
before...
turn.
Yeah, so there's no begin turn phase. It's just untap.
The only way...
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Unless there's a priority generated in Get... And...
No.
Because end of turn effects end at the beginning of cleanup step.
Yeah, there's no priority. Yeah.
Well, no. So the Get Rug can generate priority in cleanup step fairly easily with Dredge, and so long as they don't go to a new cleanup step, he could sacrifice the Elsewhere Flask.
You don't have priority during.
No, you get priority during the cleanup step. You can if there's a triggered ability in the cleanup step.
Ability, end step.
No.
And the triggered ability happens there.
No.
Okay. Well, but
I'm fairly certain new cleanup steps are only generated if you have the a new. Wait, actually, no. There is a new cleanup step. Yes,
there's a new cleanup step because you go back to your end step, and then after your end step ends, you have to clean up.
You don't go back to a new end step. You just go straight to a new cleanup step. Yes, that much is true. Okay, but yeah, now we're getting a bit pedantic here.
But the point is that Azrael has to Merchant Scroll for something that can deal with the onboard Vanifar and hopefully something to deal with in time back down, right?
Yeah, there's not a whole lot.
There really isn't a whole lot, no.
I'm trying to run through some options here. Maybe if you're a political mastermind, you can work a Chain of Vapor to some effect. So
I think we're seeing the Merchant Scroll being cast.
Yeah.
Now, do you know if he runs Cyclonic Rift? Because if he runs Cyclonic Rift, they're always casting Karkland Fireworks, sacrificing some number of your artifacts, and then deep. Overloading the Cyclonic Rift, right, which would be the cleanest answer.
I think he's stuck on
the cleanest answer.
I think he'd be stuck on blue because he currently has only 4 mana available, right? So he has to tap 4 for the KCI, and then
which means he would have to cast the KCI first. So then he would not have to pay any of his blue mana into the colorless part of the Merchant Scroll.
Yeah, but it doesn't look like.
But I think the time is
up.
So.
Yeah, I really don't know. Like you get to buy some time against the Vanifar, but then the Gitrog monster gets to do all of their shenanigans.
Yeah, the Gitrog monster does just dump their hand back down, and then we're back to the same situation.
Now this is the bane of a control player, right?
It is,
when no one else is pulling their weight, and
when
it's all
you have,
on you.
Yeah, exactly. When you're the only control player at a table, it's just. It's the sweats emoji, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the only way to describe it.
Yeah, so looks like Azrael's in the tank, probably thinking of all the possible X he could have. I'm considering we couldn't come up with.
And Azrael knows his deck.
That's true.
Well, put faith in the pilot, right?
Yeah, fair enough. So. I think the Gitrog player. I think one thing Spleenface has to realize is that Prime Speaker Vanifar. He has to perhaps Spleenface could try to politically maneuver the situation to his advantage, because he has to realize that if he goes for the combo,
right,
Azrael will remove him and then giving free reign to the Gitrog monster.
That's right.
So perhaps Spleenface could try some political maneuvering to essentially guarantee that he's like, I'm not going to combo up.
Yeah.
And then pass the turn to PD Measles, allowing Azrael to have his interaction up.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? Is that if Azrael has the feeling or has the read that Spleenface will try to win on his turn, then Azrael has to do something about the Vanifar during Spleenface's upkeep, or I guess no later than his draw step.
Yeah.
Right? However, if Spleenface wants to send the signal that, he's not going to try to win so that Azrael can keep up his interaction, then he'd have to pass all the way to his end step without activating Vanifar. That's basically the
which is unlike something like Zerg, where you have to go through combat, and then as soon as the declare attack goes on the stack, then you're going to get your trigger. It's really hard to make guarantees like that.
Yeah.
But Vanifar, you need to go through the motions, and you get plenty of opportunity to interact.
That is also true.
So it's could be quite advantageous. Okay, so it looks like we're going to get a rapid hybridization for Azrael. Now, I think it was incumbent on Spleenface to actually be the one pushing for this politicization here, because he has to realize he's as the person who's going to try to be comboing first, that Azrael's going to have to de facto target him.
Yeah.
So we'll find out. We'll find out soon enough whether or not how it shook out that way.
Yep.
So let's see, what do we got going on here? We've got Azrael is looking at the top 3 cards of his library, voting top, and that just allows him to have. He doesn't need to really keep up more than his rapid hybridization. Looks like rapid hybridization is going to. Now this could just mean the game for PD Measles. Vanifar is just out of luck. Has nothing really to do right now. Whirlpool Rider, maybe some miracle top decking to interaction could really save this game, but otherwise, my money's on the Gitrog monster. Notably too, PD Measles is at 13 life.
That's also true.
There is some real beats that can be going on right now.
Yeah.
A 3/3 Frog Lizard ain't nothing.
We got a 3/3, a 1/2, and a 2/2 on Spleenface's out of the field.
Yeah, and I don't think PD Measles is super excited about blocking with a Sylvan Safekeeper, and then on Azrael's turn, he's got his little Thopter army. So PD Measles could be dead fairly soon to beats and his Mana Crypt.
So Spleen recasts Vanifar and looks to be passing to his end step.
No attack from the 3/3.
The classic EDH move of never
use the combat step ever. Yep.
This is surely just a misplay from Spleenface, because in some decks that are ad nauseum decks, there's justification for not moving to attacks to keep up blockers, or if there's a Tymna in play. But this is just missed damage that could potentially matter later on.
Change the course of this game.
Yeah,
because if we assume that PD Measles doesn't block, he'd be possibly down to 7 life, right?
Yeah. Oh, he lost the crypt roll here, so going down to 10. Yeah, that could have been dead next turn, and this gives PD Measles the opportunity to put in the Gitrog monster, which then makes attacking much less of an incentive. Now, Spleenface could just be thinking that that it won't matter, because if he gets back to his turn, he just needs to have the Prime Speaker Vanifar line. But we'll see if we even get there.
So Fate Stitcher from Spleenface taps down the Priest of Titania. So now, but PD Measles is still able to cast his commander from hand, right?
We've got the Mox Diamond for the black, the Snow-Covered Forest, and then the Mana Crypt and Homeward Path for the 5 mana required. Then that allows the Gitrog monster to play 2 lands and really kind of go to town.
Yeah, really.
Notably, yeah.
Huh.
Now,
those 2 lands get him a life from the loam too.
They do get him a life from the loam, but notably with the Oblivion Crown Engrave and the ruling with the Cleanup Step Sculpt, the Gitrog player is essentially going to be 4 round without trying to go for the win.
Yeah.
Or really pressing his luck trying to get the Oblivion Crown off of a shuffle and finding it in between shuffles. Not super likely, but I mean, finding himself in this kind of board state with the Vanifar again that needs to be answered.
Yeah.
Because the Gitrog player does not have the Dakmor or a discard outlet as the other players just promptly answered and would kind of we'll find out shortly as soon as Measles plays his lands and passes.
Okay,
so that gives him enough of a break for the other players to realize that he's maybe not too much of a threat, but the Vanifar presents a guaranteed win.
Yeah.
So here's the monster coming down, and
there it is.
It looks like we have some tournament news in the TO channel that we will get to at the end of this game, but very exciting. Very exciting.
So does PD Measles have anything like reclaim? Any effects that would be able to put the Oblivion Crown back on top of his library?
I don't know if he's on regrowth.
He could do. Well, one other thing he could do is Sylvan Safekeeper sacking a bunch of his lands to try to dig for a discard out. Because he's almost guaranteed to get there with the Golgari Grave Troll and the amount of land he has in hand. And he has his 2 land drops still available.
Yeah.
And notably Lake of the Dead, which
would
be able to generate a lot of mana.
So here comes the Overgrown Tomb. He'll shock it in, going to 8, which is brave.
Mm-hmm.
Brave. What do we...
He's going for a tap for a...
Yeah, and then there's the
Lake of the Dead.
Yeah.
No, there's the Lake of the Dead. Now...
The shock there was not super necessary. I feel like the Lake of the Dead could... You could easily, if you just want to, if you're looking at cycle, you can just throw away the Lake of the Dead. But I think importantly is that you just go for, if you're going to sacrifice your lands, you sack first and dig, because if you're such low life that you don't want to shock if you don't want to have to. Your life total is really starting to matter.
Mm-hmm.
And
does Lake of the Dead have to sacrifice Swamp?
Yes, it does have to sacrifice.
I guess that's why he played the Overgrown Tomb, right?
Yeah.
Because he had to sack a Swamp for his Lake.
Yeah, so based off that play, it doesn't look like he's going to be going for this Sylvan play then.
Right.
That looks to be a Llanowar Elves, opting not to go for a Wall of Roots, which seems like that'd be a solid play to chain your Wall of Roots into a Llanowar Elves. That's all.
Yeah.
Notably, the Wall of Roots is a 0/4, which is a relevant blocking stats.
Yeah.
So perhaps he's opting to want to keep up his Dark Blast here. Can't see that being too relevant, but perhaps there's opportunity in Vanifar.
to Dark Blast the Vannifar, right? Because he has exactly 4 mana from the Lake of the Dead, and he'd be able to cast the Dark Blast 4 times.
But he's sacrificing almost all. I guess not necessarily all of his.
Because Lake of the Dead.
Does he have another swamp? No, he doesn't. So he wouldn't be able to.
No.
He wouldn't clear the Vannifar there.
Okay, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. So perhaps there's going to be a vulnerability in the chains. Launch a Dark Blast, but really, he's about in the dark as we are, I assume.
Yeah, I don't think there's any X1 that
are crucial to the combo.
Yeah.
Or that can't just immediately respond with their abilities, such as like your Scrib Rangers or your Queering Rangers or something. We're just going to be able to respond.
Oh no, actually, because Prime Speaker Vannifar can only be activated at sorcery speed, right?
That's true. Yeah.
But Slingface also has a lot of creatures on the battlefield to choose from. So it's hard to say.
Well, I guess CMC is also kind of critical with these Vannifar lines, and they're also very. My understanding is that there's not a whole lot of wiggle room
on the Vannifar lines.
On the Vannifar lines, they're not kind of paint as you go as like Yiseng.
Yeah, no. Having played against it a fair few times, I mean, there's some adaptation, but the lines are not super redundant. A lot of pivoting onto Woodland Bellowers and.
Okay, looks like we're seeing an Academy Ruins from Azrael.
It's a good one.
In his graveyard, we've got a Aether Spellbomb, Lotus Petal, Scroll of Avacyn, and Skull Clamp. Now, I'm just looking at this. Like, if it comes to it, you find the Spellbomb or something for interaction. But I just really want Skull Clamp back online.
Yeah.
If I'm Azrael.
Oh yeah.
drawing a bunch of cards seems really strong. Now, knowing that he's not in a position to really react here. Is this just a good time to develop your KCI?
I think you should have done it turns ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's never too late.
Yeah.
Because the KCI is essentially
he could also potentially get his Skull Clamp online right now with his Conjurer's Bauble.
Yep.
Oh no, the Conjurer's so the Conjurer's Bauble will put something on the bottom of his library. And then he's going to get that draw trigger if he puts it back on top of the Academy Ruins. So he has quite enough. He has more than enough mana to make this happen, and I think it's probably worthwhile.
So I think what he does is he casts Karklan Ironworks.
I don't think so.
He puts the Skull Clamp back on top, and then he taps the Sensitivity on top to draw a card, and then sacks it for 2 mana. So then he'd be able to both cast the Skull Clamp, get a token, and then clamp it right away, something like that, maybe.
Do you want to get rid of the top?
Sure. It's not doing a whole lot at this point, right? If you're going to be digging with
Skull Clamp, it's not really too worth it to be filtering with your top.
No.
I mean, top...
Because all of your rocks essentially pay for themselves, right? Because you can play your rock, get your Thopter, and then sack the rock for 2, or the bauble or whatever for 2 mana to both equip and then play your next one.
I guess perhaps the question is whether or not he's on Isochron Scepter Dramatic Capsule.
Mm-hmm.
Because then in that case, your top is quite valuable for drawing your deck.
That's very reasonable.
Now, Elsewhere Flask, when it sacrifices, it draws a card, doesn't it?
I believe it's only
when it comes into play.
Yep.
All these eggs cards.
The end is the land type. The sack is the land type replacement.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So, I think at the there we go. We're seeing an Academy.
Okay.
Academy Ruins activation, presumably for the unless he's I guess the Spellbomb if he's really scared of the Vannifar.
The fact he didn't
the
fact he didn't play the KCI first makes me feel like he's not going for the Skull Clamp here.
This Spellbomb too is just it's just buying. It's one turn, right?
Yeah. Well, with Academy Ruins, it's some number of turns. But the problem is that he is facing down.
It's turns that you're not Skull Clamping and drawing cards.
Yeah.
So he's going to target the Spellbomb.
He does target the Spellbomb.
Yeah. Okay. So perhaps the Spellbomb can retake some of the role at where it was holding down everyone simultaneously with the pseudo card advantage aspect of it. Maybe you can even buy enough time to have the Gitrog monster die from his mana crypt or from beats.
Well, the Gitrog monster does still have Sylvan Safekeeper on the battlefield, right?
Oh, true.
So there is a there's a bit of an issue there.
Yeah, so it doesn't feel good to be spleen face with the only vulnerable commander.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
Yeah, and then slowly building up the Thopters. That's something too, is that you can slowly be building your Thopter like Blitz with the Skull Clamp when you eventually do have the time to find it.
Yep.
Yeah. Combat, he'll coming for one at measles counts.
Azrael seems to be the only one who's really valuing. Had Spleen Face really pushed in with the Frog Lizard, that would have been something else.
Yep.
It would have been an extra bit of damage that potentially could have meant that PD Measles would have been, if he takes the damage, if he had taken that Frog Lizard damage, and if he loses this upcoming Mana Crypt, that could shut him off of things that cost life.
Yeah.
Yep.
Azrael's on the flyers, so that gives him a fairly open attack. Spleen Face would have had to get in before Gitrog hit the board, but hindsight 2020.
Well, if he really needs, I guess Fate Stitcher can tap the Gitrog monster down, but there's also still Sibling Safekeeper. So
Yeah, and I mean, normally people like to force you to sack your lands with Safekeeper and slowly pressure yourself off lands, but when you're the Gitrog monster and you're drawing a card, it doesn't feel too bad.
No, not at all.
The definite win from nowhere.
Now, the question is that does PD Measles look at maybe Dark Blasting? Oh, I guess because he's only got the one Dark Blast, there's no. You could Dark Blast the Birds of Paradise. Is that ever worth it? Do you think?
It's
Just as like a value play.
just as
Just
a
as
value
to
play.
deny the Manafar, but I guess you're gonna the Azrael's gonna be forced with the Spellbomb anyway.
Yeah.
So you don't have to. You can just conserve your resources, and who knows? Maybe that Dark Blast removing some Thopters will save him save him from that lethal damage.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, what does it look like we got going on now with?
I think Azrael's tapping mana for Black Iron Ironworks, or maybe since it's dipping top, one of the two.
Azrael might also be in the tank. We don't know.
Well, and notably, Aether Spellbomb requires a blue mana to activate for its.
Right.
So he needs to keep up at least that much. He does have his Chromox still available. So yeah, now might just be a good time to develop the case yet.
Wait, so is the Chromox not live?
Correct. It doesn't. I don't think there's anything exiled underneath it.
Then the gate
It does.
was pitched in misdirection.
Oh, that's true.
And
so
it
this
does say
Chromox-
dead. So
Oh, okay, it does.
I think it was
Oh, okay.
just Thopter food.
I mean, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. 0 mana, make a Thopter, pay 1, draw 2 cards.
Yeah.
Value. Yeah, so this could just be KCI fuel then.
Mhm.
And this little Thopter army is actually getting to be quite insane. If this spellbomb gets to if Spleenface or if Azrael or Spleenface take their way into not activating Vanifar, then this spellbomb sticks around,
Yeah.
and you don't have to spend the Academy ruins trying to rebounce it.
Yep.
Right.
In fact, it might even be wise that in that case to I guess that's would you bounce would you crack the spell wise to keep the spell bomb up, or to crack the spell bomb in the end step to bounce the Vanifar, or like before your turn?
I
or
mean,
something like that.
we don't know what the players are discussing among themselves, but
Yeah.
given the pattern of play from last turn, which was that Azrael pongified the Vanifar on site,
Yeah.
it's most likely that that he'll choose not to bounce it. Although, as I say that,
Yeah.
Spleenface is untapping with everything.
Okay, so giving the Vanifar player priority at all to activate Vanifar, letting them go to their main phase, the Vanifar ability will go on the stack.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you've got to be aware. You've got to be thinking in your head, what could they possibly find? What's in their deck?
And the Summoner's Pact is not a bad draw here.
No,
certainly.
not at all.
For
Yeah.
Spleen. I think it gives him opportunities for answers, which is
Maybe the thing with Vanifar is so many of the things are done at lots of the creatures can come in at instant speed and lots of abilities at instant speed, except for Vanifar,
Exactly.
which is really the throttling factor. And I think that's really what's the major downside of Vanifar. Makes it super easy to read exactly when it's going to go off.
Yeah.
Okay, looks like we're seeing the Vanifar sacrifice birds. Now on 2, what do you got? You've got Gilded Drake.
Mhm.
That could be what's happening.
That could be
here.
a good
Looks
note
like
to
the
get
spell
a
bomb's
monster.
going to come down, and yeah,
This is perhaps a little preemptive by Azrael.
It's possible.
Yeah, seeing as you might want to wait to see what the Vanifar player is going to do. If they go for, like,
I
they
think-
go to untap the Vanifar, you
Yeah.
just then bounce the
But
Vanifar.
I think this also kind of forces Spleenface into getting Gilded Drake, right? Because he knows that he won't be able to win this turn with Vanifar.
Oh, that is a scavenging ooze.
So, whoa. Okay, I like that too.
That is
That's-
certainly good enough to
Yeah.
hold the player in check. Although we're gonna we're gonna feel the effects of the back to basics.
Well, he can untap the Cradle twice, right? With both Fate Stitcher and the
Oh,
Curious
that is
Follower.
true. That's true. Yeah. So he's got more than enough green
Oh, yeah.
mana to really.
PD Measles Graveyard is
It's ripe for the picking.
Yep.
Yeah. So really, we're going to see, I think, on PD Measles' turn, a bit of a game of chicken.
hmm
We're going to see the Dark Blast on. Okay, now what is this? What is this about? Yeah. So this is really the where Spleenface is taking advantage of. Gets to take advantage of the lack of knowledge and bring your
hmm
into this tournament, where people just do not have good deck knowledge of this Vanifar deck.
That's right.
What answers are they running? What's their combo lines? So that's I suggested earlier. Maybe he wants to Dark Blast this Birds of Paradise. Maybe that would have been saving grace, the play
Maybe.
that saved him.
Yeah.
certainly
But
a
he's-
possibility.
He really has to close this game out soon because his mana crypt and the Slopter beats are taking their toll. And I gotta say, I think in the if PD Measles is gone, that actually favors Azrael significantly.
Yeah.
He's got this repeatable Aether Spell Bomb, and eventually he might be able to find time to get his Skull Clamp back online, and then it's just game over through card advantage. Like PD Measles is tanking a bit. He's casting a Sylvan Scrying.
No, he milled it.
Oh, to Sylvan.
To the-
Okay. There we go. For the
But I also think he dredged 3 cards for Dark Blast when it should have been 2.
no Dark Blast is dredge 3.
Oh, it is dredge 3. Okay.
Yeah, Dak Morselva
Dak
is 2.
That's
Okay.
And notably, he did take 3 off of the mana crypt.
Yeah, he looks to just be dead. I guess not quite dead to these Thopter beats. Gitrog Monster proving its worth as a blocker. Although
Yeah.
maybe we were saying that Leanface maybe should have been punching in with the Frog Losers, but maybe he values having PD Measles in this game. Clawing, just hanging on by a thread, because as I was saying, I think the 1v1 heavily favors Azrael.
Yeah, well, having Scavenging Ooze also does limit the amount that Azrael can recur things from their graveyard, right?
Oh, that's true.
So, but at the same time, Sai is no laughing stock. Especially,
Oh, wait a second. Did the Spell Bomb, was that not targeting Vanifar?
It was.
And
And he recast it.
He recast.
it.
Yep.
Yeah, so maybe that was a bit too early to pull the trigger.
And he's probably tired of eating it, so the Scoozy gives him some coverage from that.
Mhm.
Probably tired of
Scooz
taking
might
that
be
spell bomb to the
the
face.
actual perfect answer to this board state. Gets to hold PD the Gitrog, and then also deny this this Academy Ruins.
It's very well played.
Scavenging Ooze. Good card.
Credit where credit is due.
Turns out, strong card.
Yeah, when your commander is a toolbox, you have so much freedom with how you can build your deck.
Yeah.
And picking the right tools for the job and for the meta and what you expect is it's massive, and you get really rewarded for making the right choices.
Yeah. There's a certain amount of craftiness, cunning that comes into that as far as deck building when you build these toolbox commanders. So credit to Spleenface for thinking ahead, I guess. Yeah.
Yep.
So such a weird pile of cards, Vanifar.
Yeah, it's an odd creation, but it gets there.
Evidently, yeah.
So now I'm guessing Spleenface is. I guess he didn't exile anything from the Life from the Loam. Okay.
Yeah, Spleenface also has this Wooded Foothills and this.
Yep.
That Kiora's Fall were notably not a mana ability. So if the Gitrog can respond to that at instant speed,
yep,
to the untapping of the Cradle, then he certainly will try to take advantage of that.
Mongrel.
Oh boy.
Things have to happen here now.
Thing is that you've got to be worried about and instantly losing the game to.
Yep.
Yeah. You really gotta worry about Scoozy here.
Now, Gitrog being able to win the game at instant speed, you really are going to get into a bit of a game of chicken, whether or not Azrael, whether or not Spleenface wants to pull the trigger on the Scavenging Ooze targeting the Aether Spellbomb or something with Azrael's Academy Ruins.
Mm-hmm.
That could be the green mana down required that the Gitrog can really take advantage of.
Now, do you think Spleenface should have untapped his Gaia's Cradle in response to the Wild Mongrel?
Here is Spleenface going for a fetch. If you respond to that fetch, he only has one green mana available, and then he has to activate Kiora's Follower.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if you with enough lands, you can certainly push through that. And I think PD has enough with the Sylvan Safekeeper. So this might be a bit of a misplay, allowing this fetch to find this forest.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was saying. Is that should Spleenface have tried to untap the Gaia's Cradle in response to Wild Mongrel?
Yes, I think so.
I think that might have been the more conservative, because then you'd be forcing him to.
I think he should have also fetched almost immediately.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. So now we're seeing Bazaar being activated, and then we're dredging some number of cards.
Yeah, dredging 6 off a Grave Troll, which was discarded.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, if I'm Spleenface, I'm feeling pretty sick.
Yeah.
The 2 green mana is really all you need to get Rug in check, unless there's some spicy variant with Double Titan plus Gaia's Blessing, or if they're running
Double Titan Shuffle.
Legendary Double Titan Shuffle and Gaia's Blessing would be able to push through that. Or in fact, actually, Double Titan would be able to push through this as well, because having Double Titan ups the Skoo's mana requirement up to 3.
Yeah.
So that would do it. Also, if they are on was it Crozan Reclamation? The one with flashback that can shuffle in cards.
Yeah.
Who knows what spice PD Measle is on? We've already seen them with a Crucible of Worlds and some things that deviate from the standard lists.
Okay, so now we're trying to stack draw triggers on top of each other.
Okay.
Yep, looks like it.
Oh, here's the Kiora's Follower trying to untap the Gaia's Cradle.
Yep.
It's good timing because he has both the things in their graveyard, so if PD Measles tries to dredge something back, he would be able to.
Well, Spleenface is certainly still limited. Like he's still. PD Measles could try to discard in response to the untapping of the Cradle. He really misses his window with the Safekeeper and the cards in hand to go off in response to that fetch.
Yeah, it's fair.
Now just Gitrog doing Gitrog things. Dredging, drawing cards. To see some Titans. To just take PD Measles out of the game.
Yep.
Now, Azrael kind of has to be hoping that that PD Measles makes Spleen forces Spleen to tap out of his to really go all in here. The ability to recur like a spell
for sure.
to this Scooz could really make the difference for Azrael in this game. Okay, we have not. Oh, there's a Gaia's Blessing.
So Azrael is responding first. Is that right? Because I see him tapping mana for his stuff.
What does he have that he could do? Oh, a Sensei's Divining Top?
You're just shuffling his spin away. Around. Yeah, spin away.
I mean, if I'm Azrael, I'm content just to let Spleen face.
Oh yeah. So the Gaia's Cradle taps for 5 green mana, right? Spleen Face has 5 creatures on the battlefield.
Yeah, he's got a Frog Lizard, Scavenging. And that's just
7 total green.
7 total green. That's way more than enough to stop the Gitrog monster. I wonder. There's got to be. You've just got to be feeling pretty bad as the Gitrog monster right here. Maybe you're trying to discard your lands or sack your lands to dig for an out, to dig for perhaps a Slaughter Pact or a Abrupt Decay or Assassin's Trophy, instead of going for all of this dredging shenanigans. There's the Dakmor Salvage. Oh no, sorry. That is a Dakmor Salvage, correct. Mm-hmm. Now, Spleenface, having played against me, notably as a Gitrog pilot, is privy to the knowledge that that's not the card you want to target with your XL effects. So PD Measles could be trying to go for a little bit of a bait here, baiting Spleenface into trying to waste his green mana targeting the Dakmor Salvage while he's got this Safekeeper in play. But knowing Spleen, I don't think he's going to fall for it.
No.
Yeah, he's gonna bide his time, waiting to see the Titan. Yeah. Just accumulating more draw triggers, dredging more cards. Now, it looks like PD Measles, knowing that that's a Nature's Claim, that's not going to do it. Yeah, you've just got to be digging for outs here. Okay, looks like Spleenface is tapping his Cradle. Now, forcing Spleen to tap his Cradle. So tapping his Cradle might be... Measles might be able to take advantage of the mana dissipating between phases to try to eat some of that mana away.
Yeah.
He's still going to be... 2 mana is still enough to keep him under check, but there's some... Okay, what are we going on? He's tapping the Forest instead? Yeah, that's probably the correct way to handle it. Save your Cradle for later. When Measles is no longer able to pull that mana dissipation trick. And so there's a Scooz going for the Gaia's Blessing. Now, that's the one form of protection that if you mill your Titan, then dredging further until you hit the form of single target grave hate protection. But you can ideally you don't need to hit the Blessing, but it's whatever. You can sometimes try to get lucky by hitting the Blessing, by making them hit a Blessing and Titan in the same time if you're patient. But Spleen's probably just gonna try to pull the trigger now and not bother waiting.
Yeah,
just close this game out faster.
So PD Measles lets the Gaia's Blessing get exiled.
Yeah, I mean, there's not too much to fight over there.
Mm-hmm.
What am I thinking if I'm Azrael right now? Is that PD Measles? I hope he keeps going and Spleen's forced to tap this Cradle, or
I mean, Azrael is in a tough spot, right? Because he's not like it's not easy for him to beat the Scavenging Ooze. because first of all, he has to find a way to untap his Academy ruins through the back to basics, and then also deal with
Oh
the
my god,
scavenging
I
ooze. And also deal with the scavenging ooze.
There's absolutely too much going on right now.
When he tries to recur either the Skull Clamp or the Spell Bomb a second time.
Yeah, then it kind of looks like a spleen has
it locked up. Yeah, it certainly feels like it.
Unless there's some massive punt or some trickery going on. There's the causal. That's got to be the game. Yeah, PD Measles maybe didn't realize at the time, but had the to go for it by taking advantage of spleen, holding up his fetch. You know, just taking advantage of some kind of like mindless actions that these players might be going on, and really lock it up, waiting for the Curious Follower and all that stuff.
So what you're saying there was that in response, so Spleenface cracked his fetch in response to the Wild Mongrel being cast, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then in that moment, he could try to start stacking his lands to the Sylvan Safekeep, right?
Yeah.
To try and loop through, because he only had 1 mana, and notably, if the Curious Follower tried to untap the Gaia's Cradle, he could just discard more land, sacrifice more lands to try and dig further in response. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would have been a very heads-up play. So I guess it would have been right for Spleenface to try and first untap his Gaia's Cradle in response to the Wild Mongrel, because then if
he should have Spleenface should have tried to tap he should have done it as early as possible.
In hindsight, there was no reason for him to just pass the turn, not untapping the Gaia's Cradle and also not fetching.
Yeah,
right? Because at that point, PD Measles would not be trying to go off on Spleenface's mini phase.
So we can take a peek through Spleenface's graveyard here. We've got a Birds of Paradise, Bloom Tender, Breaching Hippocamp. So notably, Breaching Hippocamp is 4. Mm-hmm. So perhaps it's not immediately over. Is there a way that that Spleenface will be? Oh, with his face.
Yeah,
both of those tap mana for.
Yeah, because then you can skip his 4.
You can skip multiple, and then once he has stuff like, I'm not sure if he runs Great Oak Guardian as the top of the chain, but if he does, then there's plenty of triggers to.
Yeah.
All right, so Kozilek got it.
Yep. Yeah, so really now it's just a matter of time until the players realize that they're just kind of out of it.
Yeah. Oh wow. Both Shufflers gone. Oh
yeah,
man.
There's nothing left for Gitrog to do really at this point.
That's what I get for taking a bathroom break. His blessing gone. Okay. All right.
I mean, Gitrog's players' only hope is to maybe try to use Wild Mongrel Beat or something, and that's just not.
Well, being at 4 life with Mana Crypt and facing down an army of flyers is not exactly where you want to be at.
Yeah, sometimes Gitrog can sometimes Gitrog players can choice this. You know, just, you get your discard outlet in play, or you've got all these sack outlets for your lands, and you've just got all the options. And knowing how to navigate that path correctly is really key to playing the deck optimally.
Yeah. There are just so many things that can go wrong. You know, fortunately, it seems like PD Measles is maybe not the most experienced on this deck, given what we've heard him saying, but like valiant effort, obviously playing a very complicated deck in a tournament. But unfortunately, it's the blowout potential in something that complicated can also be fairly high.
Yep.
Certainly, also not helped by the fact that Spleenface has plenty of experience playing against Gitrog players. So
yeah.
Knowledge of your opponent's decks is sometimes the key to sealing up games.
Yeah. I think it's maybe the most relevant aspect of playing any kind of control Magic.
Oh, absolutely.
Just knowing everything that your opponent does before they do.
So again, that was really heads-up play from Spleenface getting the Scavengers, right?
Yeah.
Because it deals with both of what Spleen Face's opponents are trying to do, which is to recur cards from their graveyard.
And unfortunate that Measles didn't see the line responding to the fetch crack, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So Azrael's really going to be... It's all about this top deck right now for Azrael.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, it's most of these top decks are only going to be buying him a small amount of time, because the ability to just slam for spin to slam down this Scavenging Ooze is going to be kind of brutal. Although, notably, there is a so Spleen Face using his excess mana to take the rest from Azrael's grave.
Yeah.
So notably, Spleen is only on a single City of Brass as his green mana. So perhaps there's some top decks for Azrael that could allow him to push through that. Nothing is immediately coming to mind, but if you get a your KCI out with a Scrap Trawler, if you can sacrifice things with greater CMC to potentially get that back, but you're in that Scrap Trawler Mirror Retriever loop, you are really vulnerable to that Mirror Retriever being the target for Scrap Trawler. That's the only way to recur the Scrap Trawler.
Yep.
But so, let's see. What did... take a look at what Spleen took. He took the Spell Bomb, the Skull Clamp, Rapid Hybridization, Merchant Scroll. So that Spell Bomb, Skull Clamp is going to be real tough. Not much. Yeah, Conjurer's Bauble, Lotus Petal, Scroll of Avacyn. Not gonna cut it for as. Let's see. What do we got going on here? PD Measles just making more plays, basically out of desperation here.
Yeah,
not much left going on.
Kind of hopelessly digging at this point.
You gotta respect players who want to stick out of the game, to not throw the game dynamics too far in any one direction.
I think did PD Measles miss his opportunity to quadruple Dark Blast the Vanifar? When he had all those draw triggers up, he could have.
Quadruple Dark Blast.
No. I guess.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Now, the Sylvan Safekeeper can respond to the Scavenging. You can potentially get into a little war over that. That maybe was one of his outs. Is that?
Yeah, I think
if you can try to Dark Blast the Scavenging Ooze, and then when the Scavenging Ooze tries to remove the Dark Blast, you sack a land, and then you keep trying to Dark Blast it. Yeah,
it would depend on how your dredges go exactly, right? Because you can't hit the Titan too early.
PD Measles seem to be really restricted on black due to this back to basics, and Lake of the Dead didn't have another swamp to sacrifice.
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
That's very unfortunate.
Hey, this is a good time for Scourge Familiar. Am I
right? In the game chat, they're calling time. It's been 2 hours this game, so.
Oh, okay.
After this turn, Azrael will take his turn. Then it becomes Azrael's turn again. If nobody has won, then the game will be ruled a draw. So it looks like we're doing 3. Looks like we're doing one circuit of the table.
Spleen Face gets another turn after this?
Yeah, looks like.
Okay, well that
one
could
more
be,
turn cycle.
That could be it. That Spleen Face really only needs one more turn.
Yeah.
It all depends on what Azrael draws here, I guess. So with this Twilight Mire Mox Diamond, you could potentially Dark Blast some Spleen Face's stuff, or actually he's got access to an Abrupt Decay. PD Measles does, so that could throw a wrench. And I think because the two players have already been secured for the finals pod, I don't think a draw will allow any of these players to advance.
No, I think it's a win or nothing.
So,
and even then, I think it's
still questionable depending on breakers, how breakers shape out.
Yeah.
So let's see. Going back to the Dark Blast, was there a time when Spleen Face had tapped his forest to exile the Gaia's Blessing in response to the Kira's follower untapping the Gaia's Cradle, that PD Measles could have some way conjured up enough black mana to try and Dark Blast the Scavengers multiple times?
I think that opportunity was actually much earlier. I don't think I think going for the dredgers was first of all a mistake. I think he should have been sacrificing his lands to the
safekeeper.
To the safekeeper to either dig deeper until he hits more black sources or a swamp, so that he can get the black man out of his
the dark frost was certainly like his only out in his hand at the moment. At that time, his only out the scavenging ooze, right?
Yeah, that was one of his out. Well, his other out trying to win in response to him to Splingface untapping or his fetch.
Right. But we missed that opportunity. So
outside of that, he does have an opportunity to try to remove and the scavenging ooze with the dark blast.
Yeah.
Because every activation that the scavenging ooze tries to either remove the dark blast, you can try to sacrifice the land to get it back.
To dredge it in response.
To dredge it back. Yeah. Or the scavenging ooze trying to grow.
Yes.
By exiling a creature, again, you get to respond.
Yeah. Well, he would never Splingface would never try to grow it, because with that mana you could just try to exile the dark.
Well, there's an opportunity to try to grow and outpace the dark blast with the dark blast on the stack.
Sure. Yeah.
That's really your prime opportunity, because he can't just dredge in response.
Yeah. That is also dangerous though, because it means that he would be vulnerable to the moment where he would have to use Cure as a follower to untap the Cradle from him.
Yes.
Because you have to. But it's a lot of. Well, I mean, we're all talking about things that happen, and that's all said and done now.
These players, Splingface is the only one who has the opportunity to make it to the final spot, right? Correct?
I'm not too certain on the. Scott, would you be able to clarify the standings?
Let's see. It looks like
who are the winners from round 1, or from round 3? Sorry, the previous round.
From the previous. Let's see. We have. Is there a standings channel? No, there isn't. So, the way that it looks like is, the way that the finals have, panned out is, it looks like the top 4 might already be determined. If PD Measles wins, it could change things, but everyone else, let's see. It looks like everyone else will be. Their wins are against people who went 1 and 3.
Okay. So PD Measles is the only one with the real chance.
I think PD Measles is the only one who could advance.
Yeah. So had the opportunity, and heat of the moment, hard to see all of your lines. So
yeah,
you also don't have 3 brains working on it at the same time.
That is true. Yeah, it's so much easier looking at these lines from the perspective of
absolutely,
an outsider.
Right? Absolutely.
Yeah. So, like full credit to the players.
People with hand knowledge and 3 heads together. Yeah, it's.
Yeah. So time has been called, and I guess. Not a whole lot of points left to finishing out or dragging this on too much longer.
Yeah, it looks like I'm not seeing anything coming down. We got a Azrael Biden of Thassa to top.
So just to confirm, if Splingface combos off during his turn and wins, he would not be able to make the top 4.
That's what it looks like. There will be no change to the top 4.
So who's our top 4 right now? It's got to be.
It's looking
Godo,
like, currently it's
Sick
looking
Robot,
like
Bobby,
Insert,
and...
Sick, Bobby, and Pathragas.
And Pathragas, okay.
It looks like right now on the
files.
the Thrasios File Smasher Hulk list. But what they're discussing now is if we want to do tiebreaker round between the 4 people with the same record, or if we want to make it so that the person who had the best opponent match records played against them.
You mean in terms of seeding for the final pod?
Yeah, for the final pod. So that 4th position is still wide open at the moment. If it's determined by opponent's match record, it's Pathragas. But if it's determined by a tiebreaker round,
I see what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
It could come down to a 4-person pod as a tiebreaker round to go.
Well, so there's only 2 players who have who have a record of essentially 3-0,
right,
or 3-1.
Yeah,
3-1,
that's
3-1,
Yeah,
that's Insert and Sick, right?
Bobby.
And
Or
Bobby.
yeah, no. Wait, did Insert's record I thought isn't only 2-2?
Is he 2-2? Yeah, so it's Sick and Bobby.
Okay,
Yeah.
maybe we're just speculating at this point, but it's I'm kind of honestly I'm a bit done with this.
Yeah, this has dragged on. I guess I don't think it's particularly relevant unless PD Measles figures out a way to win and both of his shufflers are exiled.
Yeah, I mean, we'll stick with this game
we'll
until
stick
it's
with it.
over. It's the last game, but
Mm-hmm.
we'll see how this shapes out. And game, we'll take a quick break, and then we'll convene with the tournament organizers and update you guys on the situation.
Sounds good.
Okay, let's see. Let's just end this one already, please.
There's certainly a lot to be said about like play speed in these things.
Yeah.
Responsibly, as a player, I think it's your responsibility to kind of expedite as much as you can. I mean, don't hurry your decisions, but at the same time, there's a bunch of people spending a lot of time on this. So when you sit in the tank for 10 minutes on a turn or whatever, it's kind of, I think, frustrating for all parties involved, unfortunately.
Yeah, and if you know you're going to have to spend some time in the tank, try to keep your other turns rather quick.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, sometimes on a big storm turn or combo turn or some whatever, like you do need a minute, and you know, I don't begrudge any players who want to take that time, but do make sure you have your other play speed going at a reasonable pace.
Yeah. Certainly, decisions as far as like top of library manipulation and that kind of thing shouldn't take as long as they have, I guess, overall. I don't know. I don't want to point fingers, but it's been kind of slow.
Yeah. Not we don't always have the luxury. You would think that with a Gitrog and this game would
yeah,
but
Well, there was also Marvin earlier.
Or Marwyn too.
Marwyn
Yeah.
was also earlier. That could be a deck that takes a long combo turn, right? If it ever gets to it.
Yeah, this Tormod's Crypt's probably not going to do it either.
Okay, so if this game is a draw, the top 4 is set. If someone wins this game,
Then there needs to be discussion.
there could be some discussion. So we'll see how that goes.
Okay.
But
Okay, well, unless this Tormod's Crypt can stop Spleenface, I think Spleenface just has it.
plays
It's
Nature's
Claim.
Targeting.
Mana Crypt, I'm guessing, or
I
don't think it matters.
Spleenface has just way too much mana with this guy's Cradle.
Yeah.
Double Guy's Cradle, right? Yeah.
Well, you've got to presumably save one of those untaps for Vanifar.
Yeah, on the crypt. Okay.
Well, there's Tormod. I wonder if this Tormod's could be relevant for stopping an Unearthed Fate Stitcher.
It's, like he already has Fate Stitcher on the battlefield. It's so
but like I don't think Spleenface needs to.
No, I don't think he uses his graveyard very.
No.
He certainly has lines that certainly can issue his graveyard as a resource.
Yeah. Talking to him, I believe that there is a line that can play through Rest in Peace and a separate line that plays through Null Rock. But you can't play through both simultaneously. But I don't think the Tormod's Crypt...
He needs to play through neither.
You know? Exactly. is way different than Rest in Peace in that Spleenface is still able to get Protean Hulk triggers.
Yep.
What Azrael really needed to see was a Grafter's Cage.
Yeah.
Yeah, this Nature's Claim on a Tormod's Crypt just seems like a time waste. It doesn't really change much about the game state, really. Now, some Spleen Faces lines do involve Thousand Year Elixir,
Right.
so maybe that should have been saved. But I have no clue what this Nature's Claiming this Tormod's Crypt hopes to accomplish.
And now, presumably, Asriel is in the tank about what to exile with the Tormod's Crypt to deny PD Measles the 4 life gain. Yeah, here we go.
Oh,
Yeah. Some tight sequencing towards the... But...
Yeah.
that was... Yeah.
Dude, some of these players, they need to just commit the honorable Sudoku. You know?
Yeah, it's time, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's
There we
Umbral
go.
Mantle. Instantly punished for using the...
Importantly, Spleenface just rolled a 20-sided die and that 20'd it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude.
Crazy.
Yeah, critical strike.
Yeah.
Well, this Umbral Mantle straight up makes infinite mana Fate Stitcher, right?
Yep.
Or Curious Follow. Either or.
Yep.
Either or. And wait,
Summoner's Pact.
why
for
is
something.
Spleen going for... Oh, he's going for the
Dozan.
Dozan protection.
Oh!
Yeah.
That's tricky.
It's over.
Yeah. Dozan
Yeah,
seals
there's
it.
nothing. There's nothing left because this Umbral Mantle makes infinite mana and infinite mana far.
And then the Summoner's Pact presumably gets anything.
Anything.
Yeah.
To close
Yeah.
it up.
So
Dozan the Falling Leaf.
I think
What a card.
the Dozan tag, I think that does it.
So this
Once
is-
again, this Rogue Brew showing that it's showing its strengths.
Why is it
Opponents
so
don't know what to-
resilient? Yeah, it's I mean, like, even if you're on
It's all just a formality. Oh my god, he's just
Yeah.
Okay. Can someone tell Spleenface the just shortcut to
Yeah.
the end here?
Spleenface is trying to cause a slow play here.
Oh,
It's just
yeah,
slow
yeah,
play
yeah.
violation.
That's right. As if this game hasn't gone on for long enough.
Then we go Chakram Retriever, which untaps when you spell.
Mm-hmm.
Which, again, I don't see why Spleenface hasn't just gone for the Umbral Mantle win. Or the Umbral Mantle infinite mana. Is there something I'm not
I
missing?
mean, he can do
anything,
it at any point now, so
Yeah.
it's not like it matters
But
hugely.
Fair enough.
Spleenface winning here might have implications on the top 4, so there's more chat going on about how it should move.
Oh dear.
Okay, so I think we can just end this.
Yeah,
End this game right now. Like,
Well, should we at least tell the viewers what Spleenface actually kills his opponents with? Is it Labman or is
it's Protean
Walking
Hulk.
Ballista?
It's
Yeah,
always
Protean Hulk's
Protean Hulk.
into-
Yeah.
into
Um,
what? Is it into Labman or into Walking Ballista or something else?
I can't even
I'm not
remember.
aware of.
Maybe it's
gosh.
worthwhile.
I
so
guess
the
it's
viewers
worth
can see.
watching just for
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
silly-
we can discuss the logistics of the tournament and just keep the spectating. So
Well, we're gonna have to hop into a voice chat with
okay,
with
okay.
the tournament
tournament
organizers.
organizers. Yeah.
So
So
here's the Woodland Bell. We're getting another untapper on 6. Yeah, 6.
something we can just discuss right now. And sometimes people get mad about being forced to play it out, but it is incumbent on the player to show that there is built in such a way
Yeah.
that it can win from that state,
Yeah.
and that they have the knowledge of.
yeah, I don't think it's unreasonable.
So here's
Yeah.
the Hulk.
Yeah, here's the
Yeah.
Protean Hulk. And what we gonna get?
The free roll Dryad River. I
The
like it.
Zuri Claw Pro.
No, Zuri just pumps his.
No,
ovaries.
it's the Sage of Hours. Zuri Sage of Hours, infinite turns.
Oh,
Yeah,
That's
it's
right.
yeah.
I thought
Azuri
Spoonface was
Sage.
just gonna pump his dudes 10 billion times and then swing in. That
No, he
would
just
have done
going
it as
for
well. Okay,
Yeah.
and then
Infinite
walking-
turns, and then you gets to draw your deck that way with Eternal Witness and
All right,
whatnot.
all right. It's a good one.
Okay, and with that, we can finally.
And that'll be it.
wrap up
Congrats to
this.
Spleenface for the win on this one, and we'll have
Very well played.
more hot discussion about tiebreakers and seeding,
We're gonna
and
figure this out for the final pod.
we'll get there eventually. Have a good one, everybody. We'll see you in a little bit.
See you.